DS addresses the familiar vocal recording issue of harsh-sounding sibilants, S sounds, the result of excessive energy in the 5 to 7 kHz range that can add an unpleasant edge to both sung and spoken voices whenever S's come along.
We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way.
Just as with plosives, this can occur even with good mics and performers. Most DAWs offer dynamics tools to address them, but this module offers potentially more effective processing. The DS module has several controls. Most notable is the option for 2 different operational modes. Classic mode is the more traditional approach. iZotope identifies it as the same de-essing algorithm used in Nectar, their vocal processing plugin. Spectral mode applies spectral techniques to the task of identifying and eliminating excessive S energy for a more sophisticated approach for more problematic situations. The basic controls are threshold and cutoff. They determine what's identified as a sibilant in need of attenuation. Threshold, naturally, sets the level that must be exceeded for a sibilant to be detected, and cutoff determines the frequency above which sibilant energy must be to be identified as such. When the absolute button is enabled, the threshold level is expressed in dBFS. With that button off, the level is relative to the level of the voice itself.
We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way. We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way.
You can choose a fast or slow attack and release for the attenuation of sibilants, just as you would if you were using a regular dynamics processor for S reduction. When the spectral algorithm is enabled, 2 more controls become active, which can further fine-tune the processing.
We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way. We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way. We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way.
Breath control addresses excessive breaths between words or phrases. A simpler version of breath control is included in the leveler module, but the breath control module seems to work consistently better, at least on the material I've tried it with, doing a better job of identifying and isolating just breath sounds without affecting other parts of the vocal wave. It's pretty straightforward. The sensitivity slider determines the level above which breath sounds will be processed, and gain sets the amount of gain reduction applied to the detected breaths.
We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way. There's a new flu in town and the boneyards are full. There is nowhere to crawl for a moment of peace, lucky to have. We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way. There's a new flu in town and the boneyards are full. There is nowhere to crawl for a moment of peace, lucky to have.
Remember, completely removing breaths can sometimes sound unnatural, so this control might often be set to only lower their level to a certain degree when they're a bit too prominent, still leaving enough breath sound in the track to ensure a more natural speaking or singing character.
We're still spinning around, but there's something that's gone on our way. There's a new flu in town and the boneyards are full. There is nowhere to crawl for a moment of peace, lucky to have.
For normal operation, you'd check the gain button, and when you preview or compare the processing, enabling the breaths only box will solo what's being removed or attenuated. This can be useful if you think you may be accidentally attenuating other non-breath parts of the audio. Soloing the processed material will make it clear if non-breath sounds are being affected, and you can then adjust the sensitivity slider to correct for this. Together, Deplosive, DS, and Breath Control can do an excellent job of cleaning up some of the most common issues in voice recordings, and it would be typical for them to be combined into a module chain for a more efficient workflow. Next up, processes that deal with clicking sounds,